Under Adolf Hitler's rule, Germany quickly became a state where nearly all aspects of life were controlled by the government. For many decades, after the end of World War II, the German military was looked at as unthinking tools of Nazi ideology. In recent years, though, thanks to different works by different people and the uncovering of several memoirs, the war has been conveyed from the view of ordinary Germans. And that leads us to today's video, where we're going to be talking about what life was like as a Nazi soldier. First up, day-to-day life. Many organizations within the Nazi Party has the sole goal to radicalize and fanaticize the youth between ages 14 to 18. The primary objective was to prepare them for full service and to fill in the auxiliary roles within the different branches. Oh, and natural greetings? Yeah, they took the back seat when children had to say Heil Hitler from 50 to 150 times a day. This was integrated into the law of the country, so any interaction between people had to begin with Heil Hitler. This was supposed to be followed to such an extent that if your parents didn't greet you by saying Heil Hitler, they would have been guilty of a punishable offense. Every day would begin with Nazi songs followed by a salute to the Nazi flag. Schools even changed their curriculum to adapt to integrating Nazi ideologies into their textbooks. And speaking of laws scarily intrusive to your private life, up next, a guardian at your door. Imagine you're about to head out of your apartment. You're on your way to work and you run into the blockwart. What's that? Well, that's a person of great importance and danger. The blockwart, also known as the block warden, was a person stationed by the government as a Nazi angel. His job was to keep the block in control and to regularly check up on the residents. He also had the role of spreading propaganda and developing an acceptance of the policies in the neighborhood. Furthermore, tabs were kept on the households. Easy to say, they weren't particularly well liked by the general public. Moving on, not everyone was blinded. It's common knowledge that there was some good among the bunch. Many Germans refused to do something they thought was immoral or just rebelled against Hitler in any way, but it didn't end well for them. Many of these rebels were arrested and imprisoned in concentration camps. There were even plots to assassinate Hitler during the war. A serious assassination attempt was pulled off after the important Soviet victory at Stalingrad in 1943. A group of German military officers carried out the plan in 1944, but Hitler escaped with minor injuries. The leaders of the conspiracy were immediately dealt with, while 200 more individuals convicted of involvement in an attempt were executed later. Needless to say, opposition was dealt with harshly, and Hitler was successful in his attempt to build a stronghold in Germany. And now, where did the friendship come from? If you're wondering where the common ground between the military and the Nazi leadership spawned from, look to Hitler's promises. First, after the humiliating reductions of the Versailles Treaty, Hitler succeeded in rebuilding the German military. Second, he promised a chance to fight their opponents in the Soviet Union and France. And of course, many generals succumbed to bribes in the form of extra pay and even gifts of land. Keeping all these facts in check, it didn't take a lot of persuading to get the military on his side. Up next, German participation in the Holocaust? For quite some time after the war, a myth persisted that the German military was not involved in the Holocaust. Well, this is a myth that needs busting. The German military participated in many of the atrocious acts. 1. They supported Hitler. That's a no-brainer. 2. They took part in the genocide of Jews and other groups targeted by the Nazis. And not to mention that the German military actively promoted the propaganda for a Third Reich, which meant that Nazi Germany was a successor to the earlier Holy Roman Empire. And finally, anonymity of the Nazi Party supporters. After the war was over, it's easy to say that a lot of the people involved in the Nazi Party or its supporters found themselves on the wrong side of, well, everyone. But decades of silence from their families and some help from the political system helped most of them to essentially disappear off the face of the earth. Some even took on new identities to disassociate from their former selves. If you enjoyed the video, please drop a like and consider subscribing for more content just like this. See you in the next one.